someone else was complaining or talking about ad spend, leads not converting, agencies that he went from one agency to the next to another, and no one really got any different results. And George came on and he's like, you don't have a lead problem. He's like, you have a customer journey problem. And I'll tell you right then and there, James, that was what got me.
Hello, welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle. This is James Cox, and we're in episode number 90 today. I have a special guest with you. This is going to be a very unique, different episode from the past, but I promise you guys are going to get lots of value, so bear with us and stay with it. Through mutual friends in the martial arts industry, you know, it's a small world out there. I've known and heard of Nick Dougherty in the Philadelphia area, and he's with Winterburn Media doing a lot of websites and some really cool concepts I want him to share with us today on customer journey, you know, relationship building, and he'll have more about it than I can tell you. But really, to me, man, I see it as being back to the basics and doing it in some innovative, unique ways, but it's real talk. And that's what I respect a lot about you, Nick, is that you give the real talk. But if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, tell us about what you got going on. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me. I did my first martial arts lesson with one of your friends, Dave Pantano, like 30 years ago. That was my first martial arts lesson. I don't really consider when I was doing it as a kid. I was like forced to do it when I was younger. I didn't really want to do karate. But anyway, so I was like 20 years old. I met Dave Pantano. He did my first intro lesson. A year later, I was working in a martial arts school. 5 years later, I opened my own martial arts school. It was really quick how it happened. And then basically, I built that school up to around 700, 800 members.
Wow.
Champions Way. Yeah. A lot of people don't know about this part. Champions Way, like I was recruited me to be a consultant. I never cared. Like I didn't want to be, I wasn't broke and I became a consultant. That's like most of, I'm joking. But that's what happens with most of the people in our industry. Like they can't make it running a school. But really, exactly what you said. Like what was the way I built that school was guerrilla marketing and old school, just hustle. That was it. Just one relationship at a time. Being in the school systems, doing birthday parties, 4 to 5 birthday parties every weekend. Being everywhere in the town. I was the mayor basically of the town. Women's health defense seminars. School systems, flyers, parks, after school programs, like for local, like little schools and stuff locally. And that was it. And then Champions Way, they wanted me to teach everyone how I did it. I was kind of surprised because I just assumed everybody was doing it, like resourceful, low cost marketing. And most people weren't doing it at the level that I was. And I just told people, come to my school and see how it's done. So I didn't have to like sell people or get them on some type of coaching program. I said, just come check out my school. And that was it. And I did I made the fifth amount of money from all the Champions Way schools when they were at their heyday. My school was the 5th grossing school out of all the 5,000 schools. And then from there, kind of just got bored, honestly. Like it was wasn't a challenge for me, like running a school. Just wasn't. I had 2 locations. Started working with Champions Way, became the face of them, helped them with their marketing. And then with that, I got a little stagnant. They switched to another software called Perfect Mind. It was the new software. I met Michael Perella, who was an up-and-coming internet marketer in the martial arts. He built I Love Kickboxing. Started working with him. I left from Champions Way to work with Michael. Then we developed the Martial Arts Business Summit.
Bro, that's massive to have 700 students. I know that there's a lot of work involved in something like that. And you did it through, like you said, low cost, no cost, guerrilla marketing, just the grassroots, real stuff.
It was really, honestly, like we were 90% kids. And it starts with your Tigers program. If you have a strong 3 and 4 year old program, it's like everything else is strong. When you have a weak 3 and 4 year old program or 3 to 5 year old program, then your little Dragons program is weak. We used to have 30, 40 kids in 3 and 4 year old classes. And then our little Dragons would have 50 to 60. And our kids beginner class always had 70. And then the intermediate class was a little bit smaller. And then the brown belt class was 70, 80. That was every night. I had 2 training floors. And for most of my classes, for the kids classes, they were split up in 2 different training rooms because we used to have that many kids. It was mostly a kids program. The thing about it too, James, it was an anomaly. It wasn't really scalable. I know that a lot of people think that it just scale it. I had 4 full-time instructors in addition to myself and my wife that worked for me full-time. making 50 grand a year each. That was 10 years ago, not including birthday parties and private. So it was it was an anomaly the way we did it. It was like really geared around the kids program, breaking the kids classes up. All those classes were always broken up into smaller groups. So I was really big on having a group warm up to keep everybody energetic. And then we would break up individually into different groups, sometimes 3 to 4 groups, where the instructor would specifically only work on the content that was necessary for them to advance in rank. At the end of the day, that's all people care about is their rank. So that was how we got that many students. When you run rotating curriculum and everyone's running the same thing, a little more difficult. You know what I mean? But everyone came in and learned their specific skill sets for them. And that was how we kept them longer.
Yeah, better retention, right? Yeah, had reasons to come back. Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know about that. And that's the thing. Like, I don't think I'm a great marketer. I think that I'm a great teacher. I think that if you teach great classes and you produce a great product, you don't need to be a great marketer. Like I wasn't a great marketer. Like I just wanted I knew the quality that what I expected. The parents respected it when you held a standard that you expected for their children. And that was it. The product, when people would come in, they saw and they would witness and they would sign up. That's what your students and your product should do the selling, not you convincing them about all this other stuff. And it was a the environment and the culture when you would walk in, like everyone loved to hang out there. Like there was couches, there was TVs, there was like everyone's bringing coffee for each other. It was a family environment.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, everybody talks about culture nowadays, and building a culture and what is your culture? Because we have it. What's the perfect culture of a martial arts school today, or what would it be?
I think it should be uniquely different for each individual location. You know, I mean, if you're part of a franchise or a bigger brand, maybe there's more of a group, of what they want for their culture. But when we talk about customer journey, there's no one way that anyone should be doing it. It should be like reflective of who you are. Like my culture, even for Winterborn, like our culture is like what I teach and what I stand for is community, culture, and connection. So even though I'm a marketing agency, any content that I put out, it has to help you or anyone that I work with community, culture, and connection. That's that. So for anyone that's listening to this, when you talk about developing your own culture, the most important thing is it should be a reflection of who you are. You know, what I mean, when it's when you're going and buying curriculums from other people and going to like you're buying stuff that is not even you're not even sure where it came from. I don't know what type of culture you expect to do, but it didn't come from the heart and soul of you. So I think it's a little harder. So I think that like you're an MMA guy. You're always training your body build. I mean, like you're a personal development. I can tell. Like your culture is probably one of helping people aspire to be the best version of themselves they could be without even knowing much about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reflection of who you are. I think that some people in our industry they just start following people and they want to be like them. My advice would be like, no, like be yourself. You know what I mean? And make the culture revolve around. Because think about it, you can't fake your culture. You know what I mean? And if you are, that's a painful way to live. You know what I mean? It's like, so another thing too, I'll tell you about culture. When I say we stand for connection, community, and connection, that's what I teach my clients. The other thing is when people leave your business, like they should have something that they still know what you're about. And for us, it's brain body business. So I do a daily check-in that you need to get on, James. It's my app. And every day it's a check-in for brain body business. So if you work at Winterborn, like I believe that your business is a reflection of you. So every day there's a check-in for your brain, meaning that did you meditate? Did you read? Did you exercise your mind? What did you do? Did you meditate? Did you pray? Like anything that involves your mind. And then for your body, physicality, jiu-jitsu, training, weights, whatever you do, exercise, cardio, and then business, like what's going on with your business. So think about that too. Like it's like the culture has to also be with them when they leave the studio. So if you don't give them something that they should be aspiring when they leave, then it's kind of like now you need them to be, it has to be when they're with you. Culture should be when they're with you or without you.
Yeah. It's like that whole, it's the way of life. It's not just a hobby, right? So if they have some takeaways, so now they do better at work the next day. They do better at school. They do better at sports. Hell, they slept better or dealt with some adversity a little bit better, right? So the culture that is, like you said, making sure they can become the best versions of themselves. And it takes a team, man. So you're talking a lot. I see you're really obsessed right now with with the member journey. I love it. So what's this all about?
Yeah, you're right. I am obsessed. That's like what I intend to do. Uh, like when I find something that I just believe in so much, I do become obsessed with it. So when we talk about customer journey, um, with today's like where I would say the climate is of today, like when you think of Facebook ad spend, um, say you're also talking about Google website conversions, leads coming in, all this digital marketing that everyone's like talking about. Like if you don't do it, you're not smart. It's the way to grow your business. Like all that. About 2.5 years ago, I was almost completely sick waking up to my Facebook feeds of it was another agency promising 50, 60, 70 students a month, whatever. And to me, it was just like I knew it wasn't good anyway, because if you need 50 to 60 students a month, you have other problems. Like if you need 50 to 60 new students a month, you have severe problems, in my opinion, like with retention and other issues. So I just got really sick of it. And I knew there was something that was just like the spreading through our industry. You know what I'm saying, James? Like people that I knew that never had successful gyms were now talking about becoming a 7-figure dojo, or like it was just like it was sad. It was honestly, that's the best way I could say it. And I know because the karate world's small, like everyone knows where we come from. Like like everyone could know who I train with and where my lineage comes from martial arts. Like uh, so it's like that's the way it is. So when I started seeing this, it started really just getting me repulsed. And when it got me repulsed, I got sucked into like building a software program, Studio Boss, because I really don't want to do the same thing as anybody else. I didn't care what it was. I just want to do something different. So I did. The problem it didn't change anything. Like it still happens today. Everyone's still doing the same things. Everyone's still, talking about the same things. 50 students a month. I met George Bryant on a phone call about a little bit over a year ago by accident. I got invited to a mastermind call by accident that I went to, and George was like a breath of fresh air talking about what me and you were talking about. Someone else was complaining or talking about ad spend, leads not converting, agencies that he went from one agency to the next to another and no one really got any different results. And George came on and he's like, you don't have a lead problem. He's like, you have a customer journey problem. And I'll tell you right then and there, James, that was what got me. The way he said it too, like you don't have a lead problem. Everyone thinks they need more leads, right? What you need is more relationships with the people that you currently have. You're not. It's not as well as you think it's going. If it were, we'd be getting some more referrals, more people would be talking about you. You wouldn't need so many different leads. You know what I mean? So that caught my attention. And George brought me to a phone call where I was expected to get pitched, James. And it was the total, and this is what martial artists should think about too, martial arts school owners. What he did was the opposite of what I expected. And the same thing, most of us, when we get a lead and we're following up a lead and we get them on the phone, like you don't ever give them a win. You don't ever give them any type of result. You don't ever get them something for them first. We go right in for, when you come in, we're going to take care of you. We're going to get confidence and focus and concentration. Like it's never like the opposite way. And George did the opposite. George didn't charge me or try to book me or sign me up. He told me exactly what to do. And then, most important part, he held me accountable for the next week. So he didn't just tell me what to do. And the next day, did you do this? I did do that. The next day, did you do this? Yes. And it was like 2 days later, the next one. He held me accountable. And it was like shocking because our industry, no one does that. It's always buy me, then I'll show you. Right?
Yeah. Giving instead of asking, right?
Yeah. And that was what happened. That was, so my addiction from customer journey came from George and then him giving me the value first, and then him telling me to go the opposite direction of everybody else. And he looked at our industry in minutes, like just going through and what he saw. And he said, oh my God, everyone's got the same problem. They're being led to believe, because think about it. They prey on you that you don't have enough time. You're not going to know how to do it. You're going to be confused. Let the pros handle it for you. Focus on what you're good at. Right. Well, what you should be good at is your customer journey. And that's what marketing ads are. Like every step of a prospect coming in or members coming in, anything that has to do with your business is part of your customer journey, but you're outsourcing it to someone who doesn't even care about you. You're outsourcing to someone that is using a cookie cutter template that has no idea if it's even congruent with what you stand for. You know what I mean? So that was the thing that was like, I was like, man, it's just so true. Like everyone is just, like, and I believe me, I was one of them. It's easier for us. You're not going to do it. You don't have the time to do it. Like they're preying on all those factors, all of them saying the same exact thing. And then once they get you, they forget about you. Once they get you, they don't give you the same level of service that it took to get you. Right. Customer journey is the opposite. So George has developed several formulas. Okay. It's normally $150,000 for a 3-day intensive. Yes. 150 grand for a 3-day intensive. And you're spending in it 3 full days, 15-hour days working on all those things that you need to develop a 1-page document that outlines your entire document of truth, which is your customer journey. And there's several formulas, frameworks, and things you put together. And when you leave with this, the best part about it is, like you said in the beginning of this call, it takes you back to kind of how you started, which was simple and you had a message and you knew what you were doing. All right. But in an organized format. So if anyone comes in or anyone works for you, or a customer were to talk to you, or if a lead were to talk to you, or one of your students looked at this page of document, they'd say, yep, this is exactly, James, like what you do and what you're about, what you stand for. And that's why we love you. This is where we're behind your movement of helping kids become more confident again, or whatever your movement is, and your scripture statements. All these things are like, it's a big mess you go through in order to get there. But once you have it, it's magical, man. It's that you're developing a customer journey.
Yeah. So you're doing a deeper dive of self-study, or really, because maybe we have been somewhat brainwashed or fed, like I said, that it was a template of this to that, but doing a deeper dive of what you're really about. What is your mission, not someone else's, and what is your expertise, your strengths and weaknesses, and what is the deeper mission, purpose, why that you have to offer, right? And then you really get to know that, and now you live by it and follow it, and having some systems in place that are a little more individualistic, right?
Totally, man. And I think the thing is, what you like about it is you're taking control back of your marketing. Like, it's like nothing's going to happen. Like when you cancel or switch with something like an agency and you implement the things I'm talking about, you're going to realize that you should be doing your own social media. You've neglected it. You're not doing it the right way. There's no message on your personal page. Like there's nothing that you're trying to build you need to build an audience. You need to build people, and you need to be the person behind the voice. Like it has to be you. It can't be images of fake people and fake martial arts people. It's got to be you. And the thing is, when you wake up every day pushing your passion, that's the way I call it. I call it pushing your passion. Like you have a responsibility, and that's the way you look at it. Okay. So you're trying to like help people, get them a result first, which is awesome, right? You're trying to get them a small win before asking them for anything. You're just trying to help people get small wins, stack the wins for the customer or for the prospect, and everything else will fall into place. But it's like this paid media, like Facebook, Google, whatever, versus a controlled growth system. That's what a proper customer journey is. A controlled growth system that you control, that you're not relying on a bunch of other people to put out your message. That's what it's about.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, man. I love it. Yeah. What have you found is like, I mean, were you surprised on some things when you did a little more study of your own, I guess, purpose, vision, or, took control of your own marketing?
I think that what I learned from diving into this is that it's like art. And I think that since we're all artists, right? Most of us are artists. I think what's one of the best thing about this is that think about your martial arts. You're never done, right? Like you're always training in jiu-jitsu. Like you're never done. I think that somewhere along the lines, like when we stopped with marketing, we just kind of like made a website. It became stagnant. We did things where it just became stagnant. With customer journey, that like for me, what I've gotten from it, it keeps me so alive, brother, because it's never done. Like it's not, you're not going to get in a point where it's like, okay, Nick, so I want the 17 things we need to do. I want to do them today. And then I'm just good. No, right. It's like art. It's like, think of Da Vinci, think of the greats, you know what I mean? Like of when they made the greatest art of our time in the history of the world. Like it was never done. And that's the way to think about it. How could your journey, like your customer, as behaviors change, people change, parents change, like kids, everything's changing around us, but we're using the same system. It doesn't make sense. Like one thing I've been coaching people on a customer journey is, I talk about these passed down standards, these like passed down traditions of consultants and what has been passed down from us. One of them being that when someone comes into your school, you are so conditioned of just getting them to come in and sign up for classes. Like, no, I don't even have I just sold my building about 2 weeks ago. I had it for 29 years, 25 years. Um, when someone comes into your academy or your studio, what you should be saying is welcoming them and congratulating them for deciding on starting their own personal journey that's never going to be over until they die, until they pass away. Right. And like you want to be a part of that journey for as long as you can, not till they go to college. But you see the past, it's like, oh, we help kids till they go to, like, no, that's because you haven't modernized your system of teaching. That's your fault. It's my fault. I look at it that I sold my building. I am in a better position now than I've ever been in my life in every facet of my life. But yet I'm not coaching those 700 kids. I have none of them, brother. None of them. Why am I not coaching? They need me now more than ever. And it's just because of that thing of someone comes in your school. Oh, when the summertime, I have to leave. You know, you have not made a modern system enough. So when people go away for the summer, there's nothing they're missing. That's your fault. Like you could easily create something that could be online or in some other way of giving them something that's attainable without them having to be online or sorry, being at the school.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's like I want to be part of their journey for as long as I can. And if that means me recommending someone else, if that means them taking a break at one point, whatever. But I know now, like I look back and I'm like, these people, like I didn't have the right systems back then because I would still be coaching them today. And I'm a more effective coach. I'm like, think about it. Like my business then did phenomenal. And my awareness, my consciousness level, I never meditated. I didn't even believe in any type of God at all. I didn't. I was like godless. I just gave up on God, but I still had a successful school, made a lot of money. You know what I mean? Now it's the opposite. Now I have an incredible family. I have an incredible relationship with the divine, and I would be even more effective. So think about it. It's like that's one of those things that we've been conditioned by everybody else. Like why? Like it's like, why does everybody have to come into the school? There's one thing I would get into people's minds is that like you created that in your own head. Like it's like you go right to the info call to get them to come in. It's always right to it's like to me, like if someone's in pain, because if you've gone through trauma, kids have gone through trauma, which they have from COVID, wearing masks, speech impediments, whatever. These kids need more than a lot of them need one-on-one attention. They're not getting it.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. It's powerful what we can do, but we need to know what we can do and do it, right? Not trying to, do some other fake sales stuff, but find those hurt points and do our magic. Yeah, man, I love the customer journey. Well, what else you got to say? I know you got to take off. Anything you want to leave us with?
I'll give you one thing for the customer journey. The reason why the customer journey fails is called the triangle of death. And so when you're thinking of your customer journey and it's not working or someone doesn't convert as you would say it or whatever, the triangle of death is one of the formulas that George teaches. And it's so simple. You can implement it today. All right. So the first thing in the triangle of death of why a customer journey fails, the first thing is basically it's called the inverse journey. And the inverse journey is that when they're talking about you or they're asking about themselves, they're asking about themselves and they're trying to ask you for coaching or mentoring, help, whatever it is. And you talk about yourself, your experiences, your tournament championships, what you do as a person. They don't care. You know what I mean? So you have to get away from talking about yourself. Use examples of other members that have gotten there. Like it's like you're the coach. Like it's like the coach doesn't tell the quarterback like what they did when they were a player 35 years ago. No one cares. So that's number one, the inverse journey. The second thing, actually, it doesn't matter the order, is the zone of doubt. So I'll let you think about this for a second. The zone of doubt is when someone opts into your website, when someone buys a trial, when a lead comes to you from email, when someone calls your school and they have an info call, any particular point of contact where they're trying to talk to someone, and basically you're not like crystal clear on what the next step is. It's called the zone of doubt. And that zone of doubt happens so much. Like when someone buys sparring gear, you assume they know how to use it. I can go on and on, like every type of scenario you can imagine. But the zone of doubt is what will lose you students. The zone of doubt was what will lose you prospects because like you just assume that they know how to book their lesson. You didn't follow up with them. You don't know what the hell, they don't know what's going on. Like it's like honestly, one of the best things you could do is assume everyone is just not really smart. And if you just go through that and you understand, you look into it like that, like You're not gonna like they need help. They need more guidance. They like don't leave them in a zone of doubt. And that happens everywhere. It happens when a league comes in. It happens when someone buys a trial, like they don't know what to do. You give them a uniform, they don't know how to tie it on. Like anything where someone doesn't feel really safe and comfortable, they could. That's they're only another step closer to quitting. So not knowing how to put the footgear on, being late to class, and you're not telling them what to do. You're just looking at them. Like I mean, like it happens all the time. The most important thing is us admitting it. It happens to me all the time with my customers because I change so much. My schedules change. I change stuff, and that's not good. So it's like I'm admitting it, and most of us have to admit that too. And then so we have the zone of doubt. The zone of doubt, the inverse journey, and then the third one I think is the best one that happens the most common. And that's why I'm only going to give you this for the customer journey. The third thing is drowning the journey, meaning that I sign you up and you make me sit. I make you sit for 30 minutes showing you every procedure of every possible thing because I want to make sure that I tell you everything you need to know how to do, right? But meanwhile, I'm overloaded. I got my dinner at the table at my house. I got a family to make food for. I got, it's like, but you make me sit there and wait and listen to you because it's good for you. You're drowning me, brother. It's like the same thing. A prospect comes in and they're a walk-in and they come in and you start talking for an hour. I am so guilty of drowning people in the journey. My wife's laughing over there. Like, it's like, so I'm not trying to, I'm not above it. I'm guilty. Like, I mean? Like overwhelming people with too much information. You're excited. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're thinking of customer journey, the best place to start is there. It's to start with the zone of doubt, the immerse journey, inverse journey. And then, like I said, drowning people in the journey.
Yeah, that's good, man. Those things are awesome. Well, brother Matt, again, I really appreciate the time. I know you're busy, and there's some good content. I'm going to follow up with you and stay on top of all this stuff, make some improvements in myself. But I'm here keeping things pretty simple. It's actual, just kind of logic. It's simple.
It really is. I think that it's the behind the scenes work to get to these things, to get the clarity. I think that's the thing that schools struggle with today is that there's no clarity. So like you have ideas, you have structure, but then you don't know where to begin. If anybody wants more of this, James, here's what they could do. And this is an example of what you should do. So if anyone wants the 5-step like customer journey formula, so that means that any content you're putting out, if you follow this 5-step formula, it'll be successful. I'm not saying it can't be successful, you don't. But for those people, when you're putting content out and you're not thinking of these 5 things, you can run into problems. They could run into like miscommunications and them not understanding things. So anybody that wants that, James, really just simple. Have them message me on Facebook, right? Just Nick Dougherty. Send me a message, 5-step formula. I'll give it to you guys. It's a video that I give to everybody. All right. And then I only have one ask that when I give it to you, I just want to see one piece of content you put out that uses the 5-step formula. Remember I told you about holding people accountable? And one of the things I just did to you guys you didn't understand was called the ask. And this is one of the 4 paths to the peer. One of the 4 paths to the peer is utilizing something called the ask. And the ask is when you're giving somebody something, you're asking them to do something specific, and then you're following up and holding them accountable, right? So we don't do enough of that. Like you could do this all day long in your classes. Ask the students to go home. Ask the students to go home and write something down. Ask them to bring a sticky note with what you ask them a question the next day. Like, ask them to go home and send you a video message of how to do something. Like, keep them engaged by using the ask, right? Yeah, what I'll say to you, bro, is that trust me, man, get on some of these calls. It is one of the closest things of magic. George has combined a lot of incredible books, put together this 1-page document that will really transform your business better than anything else I see right now. That's the bottom line. And the best thing about it is you have everything you need, James. You'll need a website. You'll need a funnel. You'll need Facebook ads. You'll need any type of special graphics. All right. You don't need anything other than what you currently have. That's the best part of customer journey. There's nothing else to buy.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, it's just being real, right? So you said best place to find you is on Facebook. Nick Dougherty. How do you spell the last name?
Dougherty. Yeah. Send me a private message. 5-step formula. I'll send it to anybody that wants it. And then, then I'll ask you to do an assignment, and then I'll hold you accountable for it. And you could use, and what you want to do is use the same thing I'm doing for your own leads and stuff.
Awesome. Well, let's do it, guys. Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate the time. We'll talk soon. Thanks again. Good stuff. Guys, check out all the other episodes and follow my YouTube channel, James Cox Martial Arts. Thanks.